How's it going, everyone? Jason Pacheco here, Matt Reddy here. This is a simple example of how, as a real estate agent, things don't always go as planned and you have to pivot. And here we came to our spot podcast. The room was locked. So what did we do? We could have just went home, went to the bar. No, we improvised. We found a room. Here's our microphones, talking into our cell phones, and we got a little tripod we found holding up a cell phone. So we're going to make it work. We're going to stay consistent because that's what it takes. Matt, what's going on? How do you feel sitting over there today? A little different.
Yeah, it's a little different atmosphere than we're used to. It's a little thrown off, but we adapt. As agents and humans, I think it's important to adapt. So, here we are. We're in a different room.
And now, just to the fact of adapt. I know this is going off script here, but I think it's something I wanted to. I want to have some talkings on. So I'm not super religious, but I do go to church. I was married in a church, and I'm getting my daughters baptized in a church. And what I have a hard time finding a church that adapts with the millennials growing up. Millennials are virtual. Their attention span is short. Everything is so virtual online nowadays. But churches aren't going virtual. You have to go in person. And okay, you get the millennials to actually go there in person. Right now, millennials are working 3 jobs. They're busy. They're, just the way everything's so on demand in the United States, especially. So churches need to adapt to that. I mean, I can't find a church. 30-minute mass is perfect. Go 30 minutes, do what you have to do. You sacrifice your time. No, my church is an hour and 10 minutes to go to church.
That's a long time.
I want to get my daughters baptized, do the right thing, and we have to go to 4 classes, 4 different weeks to get trained for the godparents. And I already did these classes before because I'm a godfather. The same priest, the same godparents. Now, we had a kid, so we asked the godparents, which is my sister, who I'm a godfather to her kid. I know it's hard to follow, but long story short, we did these classes 2 years ago. He goes, it's going to be a nice refresher. Why don't you guys come on in again? So he's going to take us 4 hours to do this. It's like they got to adapt, and they just have to. The religion, the church. My church, I can't speak on all the churches, they need to adapt to the times. Half-hour masses, do virtual stuff, virtual mass, virtual donations. If they want their donation, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, no.
They got to adapt.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not, I would say I'm, same as you. I'm not super religious, but, get married one day. I'd probably get married in a church, when that day comes. But, I think...
when that day comes.
But, yeah, I think... I think, even growing up, my mom always made me go to church, and, they were like, like you said, an hour and 10 minutes. And I mean, it's a long time. So, I mean, I think, just the ability to adapt is definitely something.
And even school in general, high school, you can learn anything from a computer and a laptop. Google, YouTube, I can learn almost anything I want. I personally think schools need to adapt. I think elementary school's cool, but once you get into middle school and high school, you should be going to know how to read and write and do math. And why do I go to learn science? Yeah. Why do I go for social studies? Why do I go to learn a language? I can learn a language online. I can learn social studies online. I can look up all the presidents. I've never, ever in my job as a real estate agent been asked who's the 13th president, what's the Boston Tea Party.
That is so true.
And if someone did ask me, I'd say, hold on 1 minute. Let me grab my cell phone. I'll find out in 20 seconds versus 2 hours of me trying to study to pass a test and forget it.
Yeah. At the same time, too, I think if you're going to school for science, something related, the medical field, like, okay, yeah, it's worth it. But I mean, just to send everybody.
No, it's still not worth it. I mean, go to college for that. I'm talking about they need to generalize it for everyone, make it here's what you need. And if you want to learn more and whatever path you want to go in life, continue into college for that. Yeah. Or learn on your own. I mean, I want to be a real estate agent. I figured it out. I didn't go to college for it, and I learned it. If someone wants to go to college to someone who does supply and you buy products, right?
Supply chain. We have our camera woman behind the screen
she
here.
She wants to learn how to do it. Great. She goes to high school. She learns how to read and write and do math. She knows how to get by. She gets hired, and the job will teach her what she needs to do.
Yeah, it really is aggravating. I mean, you see, there's a lot of wasted years. I feel like past. I mean, I don't even know. I could say even freshman year of high school, maybe even 8th grade. I don't know. For some kids, I mean, it's
which
just
is perfect
just a waste.
segue into here. Yeah. College, another.
Oh yeah, here we go.
I can't blanket statement college as being a waste. I can't. Like you said, you go to high school to learn the very basics in life, and then when you find out what you want to do, which people at that age don't know what they want to do yet, it takes time.
Yeah, I think honestly too, just some of the basic. You say high school, I'd even argue sometimes maybe middle school. You know, the later years of middle school, but yeah, I mean high school, you know, for sure. But yeah, it's just going to college.
They need to whatever. But going in back to the college stuff. Doctor. You want to be a doctor, you need to go to college. You need to learn the body parts and all whatever. But any business, going to school for a business degree, I think can be very pointless. I think that's what you do.
I got my bachelor's in business. I mean, it's I can't tell you like anything I really learned. I mean, it's sad to say, but I don't use anything on my job. Besides having it on a piece of paper, that's about it.
And I remember high school pushing that on us.
Oh yeah.
Especially me going, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. You got to go to college, and because that's what they're all trained to do.
Even parents too. I mean, the schools aren't. I mean, it's not all the But you're right. I mean, the schools, high schools are like that. But even the parent, at least my parents, God bless them. I love them. But college. That's there was no other even avenue.
Yeah. So I mean,
I feel like it's just kind of a waste.
Yeah. Now you're 16. People are starting to get cars, and now it's who has a nicer car? Who has a nicer car? It's starting to get into that attitude with kids. So at this same exact time, they're trying to figure out what college they want to go to. Now, all right, let's say you don't need to go to this specific school for what you want to do, but hey, it's a status. I'll look smart to my peers. It'll impress them. It'll look so cool. I can post it on social media, the acceptance letter, and I'll go there and it'll be such a fun experience. Now you're in the hole $100,000, and you're so happy you just got $10,000 back for your forgiveness thing.
Yeah, and a lot of the times you see some of the they don't even finish. A lot of the times you see people those same people posting they didn't even finish school, and now they have debt, and they didn't even not that either finish or not. I mean, I still think it can be a waste, but there's a lot of kids that just don't even finish. So now we're in that boat where you wasted time, money, and now you're not even, I guess, as more viable in the market as promised, which by the way I don't even think necessarily that if you get a degree that even helps really. So what's your take on the student loans? So that's what we wanted to get into here today. So student loans. So full disclosure, me and Jay both went to college. He got his associates, right? I finished at Rick with my bachelor's
from the CCRI.
From the Community College of Rhode Island. I started at CCRI too, actually. I finished at Rick. But so we both have degrees. I have student loans, you don't. So full disclosure, I'll say I don't agree with what's going on. I mean, there's a lot of people that, I get some people were fortunate enough to have their parents pay for it, or maybe people work through school. There's a lot of different ways, people scholarships, and those people aren't getting a check back. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and while I don't agree with it, I'm not going to pass up free money. So I'll say that too. But yeah, I really don't agree with it. I think it's just, and then we don't even know. I don't know a ton about, but I guess taxpayers are going to pay for that. So people that have already maybe paid off their loans are going to be responsible for that. I mean, who even knows what it looks like on how that money gets paid back? I really, again, don't agree with it, but they're going to give it. I mean, I'm definitely going to take it. Maybe people think that sounds hypocritical, but it's legal, moral, but yeah, don't agree with it. But yeah, your take. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be very honest up front. I didn't really follow. I don't know the details behind what was passed or anything. I really don't know. From a political standpoint, I don't know the requirements to get the money and who's qualified for it. I didn't follow it. I don't know anything about it. But the general basis is yes, people are getting $10,000 back first if you have student loan debt. And now again, I'm in a place, thankfully, where I don't have student loans, and but it was still paid for by my family. And example, like if my dad is, let's say it's Thanksgiving, it's a holiday, my dad has to go to work because he has to pay for these bills and he can't be there for Thanksgiving, something like that, right? It's not even, it's time and money. So my father, all the hour, if he's getting paid hourly, let's say he makes $20 an hour, do $20 an hour, divided by 10 grand, equate how many hours of his life he didn't waste working, because it still went toward my education. He still made money, but essentially you saw how much time was wasted, and he's not going to get back that time. Where if he just didn't work those extra hours and he spent it with his family, it wouldn't have mattered. He would have got the money handed to him, essentially, right? So that's one take on it. Two, it's fine giving some people some money. We're in a crunch, whatever. I just get really upset for the people that are getting the money that they only went to school and racked up a bill for the status, their education, their status, to impress people. Like, ooh, I'm going here. It's going to really impress people. And if you're trying to, be in the top 10 of the class and you want to go to this really fancy school to really impress or make people jealous, those people don't deserve it. I hate that. Anyone who went to, I want to go to URI and dorm there. It's going to be so cool, bro. We're going to party. If he's getting that money and he's in debt still, I hate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, definitely the driving force behind what you just said. I mean, I think another take on it too is just, where does, when does it end? I mean, who, like, for example, kids are going to school, they're still making the loans too. So, I mean, how are you going to, at the same time you're forgiving them, you're still making those loans. Like, kids you can graduate, next year. They still can take them out. As far as we know, nothing's come up about that stopping. So,
it's like, do we continue paying our mortgage?
Yeah, do we? Yeah, I know.
One day, will they forgive mortgage payment of amount? Like, it's like, we're working hard. It's a Thursday. We're not getting paid to do this. We're sitting here in person, doing these podcasts, trying to help people, better everyone around us. We're doing it to help everyone around us and help ourselves, essentially. But if we're just going to get, to pay bills, to make life happen, I have a family, newborns, I'm trying to make life happen. And, but I could just skip this podcast, go home and eat some chips on the couch and get money that way, and not even, break my back to come out here and have my wife watch the kid all by herself, 2 kids right now all alone. You know what I mean? So, but for the real estate stuff, do you think it's going to help people buy? I mean, I'll let
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, it really depends. I think it's going to help some people out. I mean, for example, really, I mean, I only had about 10 left anyway. So, I mean, and was looking to buy a single family next year. So, I mean, it'll speed my process up again, but other things are in line already. I think a lot of people first of all, have a lot more than 10. So, the person that's got 150, now they got 140 and they still have another 20,000 in credit card debt. Are they still in a position to buy? I mean, I'd say it's probably a 50-50. Again, $10,000, I still think $10,000 it's nothing to snuff at, but the amount of debt some kids still have it's just, so to answer that, yes and no. It really just depends on, your situation still and other factors too. Do you have an $800 car payment? Like, a lot of millennials, that's pretty common now. So, that, but,
Yeah. So, I mean, $10,000 really, at the end of the day, for one person isn't a like a lifesaver to buy a house. You're probably still in the same situation. The only thing it's going to affect most likely is the economy in some way. So maybe interest rates. So it might affect someone in that way. The rates might go up, or taxes and stuff. But I think that $10,000 alone won't affect anyone. But the after ripples effects might affect some people in the long run. Now, one topic I know I wanted to talk about real quick is because I'm kind of dealing with this right now with a client is overpriced listings. So if someone just this, I'm going to run it through how what's happening right now. Um, I hear someone coming by, but anyway, let's say someone wants to place list their home for sale, and they're going to list it for sale for 20 grand over. I'm distracted by this noise. Sorry, everybody. Is someone coming by? No. All right. Nah, whatever. We'll let it roll. But so all right. So you meet with the seller and he wants to list his property, and you tell him right up front, it's a little overpriced. They don't mind. They want to try and get it, or they want to try and leave some wiggle room for negotiating. They put the house on the market. Fair enough. It's overpriced. No one placed an offer on it in the first weekend of showings. So now you're going on to the week 2, and he's like, let's stay at it. We want to really try and see if we can get it. It's only been 7 days. So same thing, no one really bites at it. Maybe you get one offer, but it's just still under list price, and he wants that list price. Now we're 14 days on market. Any buyer that goes to that property at this time, buyer's mindset is a house goes up for sale, and within 10 days, it's off the market. If it's still on the market within 10 days, that means they had no offers, and now it's fair game to offer under list price. So what's going to happen is now if you're on the market for 14 days plus right now, buyers have that mindset still. So they're going to come to the property and say, it's been on the market for 14 days. Here's the listing price, the asking price. We like it. Clearly, they didn't get an offer yet, or it would have been off the market. So let's ask 10 grand under. And you're going to start getting offers that are just under list price. Versus if you listed it very fairly right off the bat, you're going to get that list price, if not a little over, because then you're building competition. Let's say you get 4 offers. There's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of we got to outbid each other and get this price, drive the price up a little.
Yeah, I think too, like a lot of some of the sellers that are coming into the market, they feel like it's I think they're thinking like even up to 8 months ago. I mean, I think the market was a lot hotter. I mean, interest rates have gone up. So I mean, coming in trying to like get, trying to like 30,000 more than it's actually worth is just, it's not, I don't think it's as realistic anymore. And it really ends up hurting, it ends up hurting the sellers. And I think sellers aren't aware of that too. Some of them trying to list their homes on their own, again, driving up the price just to see if someone bites, and it's really just hurting them. So, if you're thinking about selling your house, like, you really want to get with a real estate agent and just, have them like, work together to figure out a price that, one that works for you, but, you got to be realistic.
Yep. I mean, pretty much that. It is what it is. Just another topic, really just to segue into it. It's just when you're working with an agent, you pick that agent you trust, hopefully, and then you should communicate with that agent. He's your professional in the transaction. And same on the buy or sell side. If you're trying to buy and your professional you chose to work with is telling you this is what's happening, I mean, I feel like everyone, you go anywhere, you mentioned real estate, everyone thinks they're experts, and they sold 2 homes in their life. But if your aunt sold 4 homes, my aunt's really real estate savvy. She sold multiple homes in her life. That's why I brought her. She sold 4 homes in her life. We're selling 80, 100. So it's like, yes, your aunt might have been in those 4 homes she sold them 15 years ago. It's not the market now. It's not the way things are done. So I think it just creates an overwhelming thing. Even if you're with the buy side, you bring your mom, your dad, because you want their opinion on things. So your mom likes it, your dad doesn't like it, your husband kind of likes it, you love it, and now everyone's just like, I don't like it, I like it. It's so confusing. So I would go into a real estate transaction tip. Whoever's the decision makers, go alone and go with your real estate agent. And it's, of course, okay to bounce the opinions and ideas of what's going on around your family. It's natural. But at the end of the day, don't try and override. You can, but if your mom's opinion matters more than the realtor's, I get it. But don't try and outsmart the realtor, because 9 times out of 10 they experience this already, and they also don't have emotional attachment in the game. So they're looking at it with the very clear focus, and they don't have emotions attached. Because again, a seller's home, their home's always the best, that in their eyes. So we can see that if it's true or not.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, bringing that is a good point. I think bringing just going alone. I think bringing in your parents, friends, if you want to ask their opinion afterwards. But they bring it in, and it's tough because they're invested, especially the parents, because they're invested. They want a lot of the parents, at least in my experience, they want their kids to have the $750 million brand new build, and
For 200,000.
for $200,000. So it's just not going to work that way. I mean, I think unless like I said, obviously you can bounce it off their opinion, but you really want to find a good agent and listen to what they're saying. And also too, I mean, it's another thing too. A lot of the parents too, and I'm not trying to dog them, but it's unless they're putting your down payment down or something, or they're really contributing financially, even then, still, it's just I think a lot of parents are trying to get involved, and they're not even have a financial stake in it, So, I think if they want to weigh in a little more, that should be something that, discuss outside. But yeah, I mean, I would come alone and just, bounce the opinion off them, when you're done. But yeah.
Well, I think it's time to get out of here. This corner of this room we're in, I think Sam's phone's about to die. So hopefully next week we're back in the podcast.
Sam is our full disclosure. Sam is our camera woman. Yeah. So
yes.
We'll bring her in.
Maybe we'll bring her in.
Maybe we'll bring her in.
Next week we are.
She's
going
saying
to
no,
be,
but yeah.